Hello and welcome to another fine edition of It's a Sports Show. As always, beside me, Dolphin Paul, I'm Scott Cray, and we have a lot to talk about today,
wow,
DP.
is sports?
I'm telling you, we need to start off with an opening monologue that has made It's a Sports Show so famous. That's when, it's called It's a Sports Show.
That's when we talk about nothing?
We don't actually talk about sports for, 10 minutes.
But we will get to sports.
Talking about nothing is a popular thing for some shows. They've gone on for quite some time.
Seinfeld made a living out of it. Absolutely.
Stupid show. Dumbest show that ever
existed. Is this a sports era right now that we're in?
This is crazy.
Because of everything going on, and we'll get to that, but,
for us, beyond the norm, usually we converse about baseball and, maybe football.
Yeah, not much going on.
There's a lot
of stuff cracking.
Yeah,
a lot of stuff happening. It's unbelievable.
This, by the way, our special Bill Walsh edition. Thank you, Scott Cray, 49ers fan.
Wow. I was a little stunned there for a minute because before the show started, you told me Joe Walsh, and I thought one of the Eagles had died. I was like,
I have a
piece
of paper right here that says DP, Dolphin Paul, because I forget your name.
Well,
Bill Walsh, though, man, he was, growing up, see, a lot of people ask me, including my own father, why am I a Niners fan here in Patriot Nation? Don't get me wrong, I enjoy watching the Patriots, but first and foremost, I'm a Niners guy. Reason being that growing up in the 80s, when I first started to enjoy football, the Niners were the team. So, of course.
How about Sam Weiss, your other team, Cincinnati? Is he still alive?
I don't care about Cincinnati anymore. They're a bunch of jailbirds.
If you see another person throw something on the field, point them out. You don't live in Cleveland, you live in Cincinnati.
Ridiculous.
But listen, the main thing I want to talk about is Jen's mom, our fine producer, said.
You want to talk about Jen's mom?
Well,
Wait, Jen's mom is the producer of the show?
No, Jen's.
Hi, Mrs. Quinn.
Jen is the producer, and Jen's mom.
Donna Quinn.
Mrs. Donna.
Mrs. Donna
checked
Quinn.
out the show and said, "Oh, Scott's
Quinn
cute."
by marriage.
Scott's cute. I mean, she just left me hanging in a cool breeze.
I think she said you looked smart.
That's not. I've been called worse. I mean, yeah.
I'm sure you have, especially on the highway.
It's not like the girls at Meeting Street. We got a thing going with them. I mean, Jen's mom is missing the boat.
Close up on DP.
I guess we should talk about sports, huh?
Eventually.
How about this?
How'd you stop talking about Bill Walsh? What's the Bill Walsh show?
Oh, we're going to get to that. We're not going to talk Bill Walsh first, are we?
All right, fair enough.
We'll talk to Bill Walsh at the end.
Grew up watching Bill Walsh.
We'll talk about him.
Joe Montana
we'll
and
talk
Jerry
about him.
Rice. All right, fine. What do you want to talk about? Front page news?
Mitch, Jen, can you guys give us like 10 seconds at the end of the show? No, just kidding. Give us a few minutes. We'll talk about the 49ers at Bill Walsh. But how about, when is the last time we really let off It's a Sports Show? We've done 177 of them.
Yep.
This is no joke here at It's a Sports Show.
Right.
With the Celtics.
Well, we have done it, but a couple of times, but it's been in a negative.
Seconds,
it's been in a negative light. But here we go. Front page, baby. Celtics can rise and shine. And so the Celtics picking up Kevin Garnett, making a big move here.
It looks like it's a done deal.
Talk to me.
And by the time people catch the show on Thursday night, of course we tape on Tuesday night, the deal technically is not done yet, but by all accounts it's 99.9% done. Right. And the Celtics are basically giving up a boatload to bring in Kevin Garnett.
Including Jefferson, who a lot of people
that's the big guy. That's the big guy. And
some young
of course, I guess they're just working out Kevin Garnett's contract details because he can opt out after 1 year. Right. And obviously the Celtics aren't going to trade all those guys to get Kevin Garnett for a year. So
basketball, you have the option to do what?
No. That's in his contract. In his contract, at this particular time, in his contract, he can opt out at the end of the next year.
So can the Celtics do anything about that?
Oh, yeah. They can renegotiate.
Oh, okay.
Extend his contract.
They could give him an extension. Can they redo the contract entirely and say, hey, you're signing on with us for 4 years now?
Yeah, pretty much.
Good like that?
Yeah, pretty much. Yeah, pretty much they can do that. Only thing with that is you have to balance contracts, so the Celtics have to throw in all these guys to make it balance out.
So get a load of this. Essentially, if you have coaches and GMs in the room together negotiating these trades, or at least on a conference call, in the same room you had Danny Ainge and Kevin McHale.
That's a good point.
How do you like them apples?
That's a good point.
You know what I mean? So obviously, I'm sure they had...
Robert Parrish, how about if it was a three-way deal with the Indiana Pacers? You'd have Larry Bird.
Imagine them apples. But yeah, I mean, a couple of Celtics in the boardroom together negotiating things like good old days.
Might I say a couple Celtics kind of on a hot seat. Danny Ainge a little bit on a hot seat. A little bit. before this deal because let's face it, Celtics haven't done
Oh,
anything.
this got him off the
And
hot
Kevin
seat
McHale,
now.
who has never really gotten enough support,
Right.
by all accounts, around Kevin Garnett to bring them a championship, he's going to be a little bit on a hot
And
seat.
both of them probably getting off the hot seat at least for a season now. Kevin McHale, maybe
Kevin McHale,
longer.
without a doubt.
Maybe longer
Oh,
for Kevin
no.
McHale. He's got some young guys now.
Kevin
he needs a
McHale,
couple
without
years.
a doubt, has extended his job by at least 2-3 years.
Right.
Now, Doc Rivers, that's another story. If the team,
And Danny
if the
Ainge.
team falters,
Yep.
Doc Rivers now could be on a hot seat because now we've always said, well, he's never had really enough talent to work with. He's going to have some talent now, so
Sure.
it's going to be up to him to get these guys that are fit and have the right chemistry.
Well, I don't know if this morning you were listening to our buddies Gresh and Zoe this morning talking about this whole thing. And Gresh kind of had his own timeline, so to speak. If the Celtics get knocked out in the first round of the playoffs, Doc's probably gone, Ainge probably stays. If they make it beyond the first round, they both probably stay. If they don't make it to the playoffs, they're both probably gone. So that was just his personal synopsis. But I can't say I disagree too much.
I would agree with all of that except for Ainge. I still don't think.
Really?
Think, well, because now Ainge has put the talent out there.
Yeah.
Now I think everything has been shifted to Doc.
So it's
That's
a
my
case
personal
of,
opinion.
what have
So-
I done the last year? Forget about the previous 3 years
No, I
before
think
that?
it's a case where, hey, here's all the talent.
Yep.
Before you made excuses for Doc Rivers because he didn't have enough talent.
Right.
Now he's got the talent.
Right.
So now, they're going to say, hey, Ainge, listen, you can stay because you made this trade, but you're going to bring in a coach who can coach these guys.
Right.
That's what I think will happen. There's no way Ainge is gone by the end of this year.
Even
no
if
way.
they don't even make the playoffs?
No, I don't think so. I don't think so.
Because
I
some
think
of it's still on Ainge. They've got a great 1-2-3 punch now, but then what do they have beyond that? You know what I mean? You need a bench to win a
still,
championship.
he had to give up a lot to get Garnett, so I think that's a non-issue. I really
So
do.
let's talk about this whole thing.
Let's talk about the actual
What
trade
about
itself.
Garnett do you like? Is there anything that you don't like that the naysayers would have a problem with? I mean, the Celtics are so low at this point. I don't see how anybody could object to this trade at all.
Well, that's-
even me.
That's the thing. It's hard to object to the trade because let's talk about this before. First, we didn't know they were going to have Ray Allen before the draft.
Right.
So everybody's talking about, get Garnett, give up all these pieces, Jefferson and so forth. But now they brought in Allen, which was still okay. Now with Allen, Pierce, and Jefferson, it kind of gives you hope that Jefferson being a double-double guy coming into a zone that, hey, they're going to be pretty good as long as Jefferson keeps maturing and with the other pieces around.
Yep.
So there's that temptation of holding on to Jefferson.
Right.
But you know what? There's some people that said, well, if the Celtics don't win a championship in 3 years, then this trade sucks.
Right.
I disagree because how many championships are going to win if they don't bring in Kevin Garnett?
Right.
This makes them probably in the top 2 or 3 of the East, if not the top in the East.
Right.
With a possible chance
But
of
it's still the
contending.
East.
Still, before, they'd probably be top 5, top 6, 7, maybe with Al Jefferson, Ray Allen, who sometimes gets hurt, and Paul Pierce. So it's kind of boy, I hope Jefferson doesn't turn out to be a Hall of Famer.
Right.
But if you get a championship between then it's all worth it. I'm not of the ilk that say it's a must to get a championship. This just makes them relevant again. I want to watch them. The
Sure.
Celtics are on tomorrow. I'd want to watch KG, Ray Allen, Paul Pierce.
Oh,
And
they'll
I'm
be fired up at the start
and I'm
of the
real
season.
happy for Paul Pierce. Imagine
Yeah.
every year going with these
Yep.
young guys.
Yep.
Now he looks around Kevin Garnett, Ray Allen, wow, bang, bang, boom.
Now, how long's Garnett been in the league for? He's
12 years. He's
okay,
been in the
so
league
he's
12 years.
considered a veteran.
Yep.
Now, 12 years at this point, you've got the experience to be considered a veteran to help these young guys out with Pierce. However,
Not many left.
how much time? That's what I was going to say. How much time do we have left?
Well,
here?
here's the deal. Paul Pierce has about, I believe, 3 or 4 years on his contract.
Yep.
Maybe 4.
That doesn't take him to retirement.
No, but that takes him to where you're squeezing the most out of the orange.
One
so
more.
To speak.
Yeah.
Well, you've got 4 years with Paul Pierce. You've got 3 with Ray Allen. And now, depending on what they do with Garnett, 3, 4, 5. Now, remember, he's only 30, 31 years old.
been in the league
still
for a
young.
long time.
He's at the tail end of his career because he's been in for 12 years.
Yeah.
So I'd say you're talking a 3 to 5 year window with these 3, and hopefully they get a pretty decent supporting cast. Now, they're losing some of their bench. It still remains to be seen whether Ryan Gomes is part of this deal or not. It looks like he is, which, he's a pretty
Your
good
buddy
bench
Scotty
player.
didn't want to give up Ryan Gomes at all.
Well, he's a good bench player. I mean, coming off the bench, probably a perfect position for him.
Right.
But hey, you've got to give up a lot to get something. So all in all, I think it makes the Celtics relevant. I know some people say, if they don't win the championship. I disagree with that. I mean, I think this makes them one of the top teams in the East. If they went, deep each of the next 3-4 years, yeah, it would stink not to win a championship. But you know what? At least we could watch it.
There's a reason to watch.
Playoffs. Absolutely.
And let's face it, one move, when you look at other teams around the league, there's no particular reason why you should think the Celtics would absolutely win a championship at this point. Are they championship caliber? Maybe. I think they need to get a little deeper beyond these three guys.
Well, they do, but if they get into the finals, and don't forget, he's dominated the West. So he's coming into the East, and just having them in the finals, I think, would be interesting to watch. You never know what can happen.
Now, this is interesting because I'm more of a baseball, football guy, and I know you're more of a football guy, but you're into the basketball too.
I'm not a baseball guy at all, just because it's a long season.
If a pitcher, a.k.a. Randy Johnson, comes from the National League, goes to the American League, there's a difference there in a negative impact because of the hitting that's in the American League. In basketball, West versus East, this guy's coming from the West going to the East. Is basketball going to be easier for him in the East? Because the West has been fairly dominant for the most part.
I think there's less competition in the East, so I think it'll be easier for him in terms. I don't think, in style of play. I mean, the East has been known for being more of a physical conference, but it's a weak conference in terms of talent.
Is it weaker in terms of offense or defense, or is it just an overall
I just think it's general talent.
So it's quite possibly...
In the West, you've got the Lakers, you've got Portland, you've got Phoenix, you've got Dallas. Those teams could kick anybody's butt in the East. I mean, in the East, you pretty much got Detroit, who's a rough and tough defensive team.
Yep.
You have Cleveland with LeBron James, who basically took Cleveland to the championship by himself.
Yeah.
They didn't have a ton of support.
So basically, in the East, it's quite possible that Kevin Garnett will dominate even more so than what he has done in the past few years in the West, because he's facing crappier teams.
I think you could expect that, and plus, I'm glad you brought up the East, the teams in the East, Detroit, because the Celtics were very weak defensively. This instantly upgrades them because Kevin Garnett. I'll say one thing about Kevin Garnett.
Yeah, tell people about Kevin Garnett, because there's a lot of people that don't know anything about him.
Well, here's why I'm excited about him. He's played for 12 years. In the past 5-6 years, everybody says he's over his prime, but he's pretty much averaged 22, 23 points, 10, 12 rebounds for the past 6-7 years. By all accounts, he busts his butt every minute. I've heard from everybody they interviewed. So, even when he played, low-level games, in other words, not against the big guys in the West. So this guy is a consummate professional. So it's not like you're getting an all-star with a little bit of baggage. This guy, by all accounts, just wants to win, even though he's making all that money.
And he's a
Good guy, consummate professional, has never really gotten in trouble, just wants to play and win, and he gives it 110% from what I've heard.
Yep.
So you're not just bringing in a guy that you hope's going to pan out. I mean, this guy comes here, he's going to play. So, between him, Allen, and Pierce, I mean, it's unbelievable how that whole thing meshes together.
Right.
That's a different story. You can have all great ingredients, but obviously all these guys can't get 22 and 10 or 20-something points.
And the thing of it is they can only put so much time on the floor per game. So,
right. Well, these three guys are going to play a lot.
It's a great 3 out of 5, but it's beyond that, And again, I'm psyched about this deal. Again, it gives them reason to watch the Celtics. But I think in the next couple of years, you need to build up beyond those top 3.
Well,
you don't need superstars.
You
but
do,
you need
but
a good
we've been on
cast.
this let's wait kick for 5 years now with these young players.
And so not the case anymore.
This is a different route, so to speak. And of course, the big guy is Al Jefferson. Everybody else, I mean, Ryan Gomes is a good role player, but Sebastian Telfair, Ratliff with his contract. I mean, Gerald Green, big potential with the dunk contest and everything.
Right.
Great athlete, but he hasn't come into his own. Now, whether these two guys, Green and Al Jefferson, turn out to be like Chauncey Billups, maybe people we let go in the past, weren't patient enough with, that remains to be seen, but it's a big move.
Absolutely. But two people I want to talk about, Danny Ainge and Doc. Danny Ainge, is he admitting mistakes by making this trade? Because now he's got the big guy coming in and he's losing all that young talent that we've heard so much about over the last few years. Just wait, it'll be time, just wait.
Well, I mean, the only mistake I think he might be admitting, I don't know if it's that big a mistake, it's just he tried to build young.
Right.
But, it just quite hasn't worked out. I mean, they've lost, but they haven't gotten the draft picks.
Right.
So, I think he tried to go young. The combination just doesn't work. I mean, it takes takes, in every sport, a lot of special things to happen to win a championship. I mean, they got shafted a couple times in the draft with, think about this team with Duncan and now maybe getting Odin or Kevin Durant. I mean, things just haven't worked out for them, so to speak. Yeah, I mean, Ainge has been on a hot seat, hasn't made the greatest moves, but, this is a big one if they bring a guy like this in. I mean, I'll bet you the tickets will stop flying.
Yeah.
Right away when they
guaranteed.
make this trade official. Because, I'd want to see. I mean, imagine turning on TV watching Paul Pierce and a bunch of young guys. Now you got Pierce. Allen averages 26 points a game.
And let's
if
face
he can
it.
stay healthy, you got Paul Pierce, you got Ray Allen, you got Kevin Garnett. Imagine the other team. I mean,
Right.
who do you... it's pretty tough to defend against them. So,
And the thing, and basically, all in all, for the regular fans of Celtics basketball who don't follow them every day but just want to tune in and be excited about them, as soon as they start winning games, and I think it's going to happen right away, people are going to tune in left and right, even if they're not diehard Celtic fans.
Right.
Winning brings
the
people
casual
in.
fan will come back.
Absolutely.
Now, is there going to be a little bit of pressure on them? Sure. Now, it's funny how no pressure.
Yep.
Now it's like, hey, big things are going to be expected out of them. So, yeah, if they did struggle, then we'd go back to the Doc Rivers thing and Danny Ainge thing about not having, because really they won't have a lot of bench if they get rid of all these guys.
Right.
And they're giving up draft picks. Now, the draft picks,
2 first
I'm
rounders?
not too worried about, because if it's 2 first rounders, well, it's either 1 or 2.
Yep.
The Celtics are most likely going to have high draft picks.
Right.
I mean, I can't envision them having anything less than maybe 18 to 20.
Yeah, watch now. They'll get into that high end of the lottery, and they'll end up with the friggin' number 1 pick, for crying out loud. I know you don't expect it because the Celtics should be winning.
But not everybody can get into number 1. It's only the top. I mean, it's only the bottom few teams.
Right, and they shouldn't be in that spot.
No, they should definitely be up. So if they give up a draft pick, it's probably 22, 23. Hopefully, it's the last team in the league.
And you won't have much there anyway.
Absolutely. So that's exciting news. And
So we talked about Ainge. Doc, real quick, we've seen and dealt with his reactions after every losing game. It's a young team. These kids played their butts off. We need time. They played well. It's sort of that fatherly, let these kids, take them under my wing and make every excuse in the world.
This is completely different.
What kind of Doc are we going to see now if this team?
This is completely different. I mean, the only thing that, they got to hope that Rajon Rondo, as a point guard, I mean, they got to make sure he distributes the ball well. But, I mean, the pressure's on Doc now. I mean, he's probably going home going, man, I better find find a good combination. I better get these guys a win.
Doc has fit well in the Celtics in that we can't tell sometimes if he hasn't coached well because we don't know.
It's hard to tell. You're right.
Is Doc is he a good coach?
We don't know. Let's find,
I guess
let's
this
find
is when
out.
we find out,
But you know
right?
what? I mean, with these 3 guys on the floor, and I don't want to take anything away from Doc, but, man,
Don't you
I
coach
think me and
less?
you could kind of say, "Hey guys,
I
you know
don't
what?"
go that far.
No, but I'm just saying, hey, just get more points than the other team.
Right.
We got KJ, Paul Pierce, and Ray Allen. Just get more points than they do. Find a way.
You would think you could.
Right.
In every sport, you need to coach a little less when you have more talent, right?
Right. Well, yeah,
You would
absolutely,
think.
absolutely. They just, it still takes a coach to manage the team well, manage the personalities. These are all good guys by all accounts. It's not like troublemakers. So they got to find a good system, play some good defense, and I think everything will take care of itself.
Works for me. What else you want to talk about?
Well, let's move on to the Sox. The Sox, as we speak, they pretty much have a trading deadline.
Yep. 4 o'clock today is the trading deadline for baseball. The Twins picking up from Texas, Mark Teixeira. Unbelievable. The Twins are putting some...
Braves.
The Braves. Oh, man, I'm all over the place. The Braves.
The Braves were managed by Joe Walsh.
Yeah. Let's not go there.
No, the Braves made a big move and get Mark Teixeira, and that's
I think they should be getting some. That's a potent bat in their lineup.
Absolutely.
That's for sure.
And they finally done something. I mean, they've had a lot of good teams over the past. They really haven't made a lot of blockbusters before the trade deadline. So
I don't want to talk too much about the Red Sox and what they might do before the deadline because we're shooting this literally at the trading deadline time. And, of course, if we yap about what they could possibly do, then...
Well, we can talk about it a little bit.
We can talk about what we've heard.
There's basically 2 guys you're looking at, Eric Gagne and Jermaine Dye.
Right.
Now,
Jermaine Dye's been talked about for quite some time now.
My friend at work, Jay, is a big Red Sox fan. And yesterday, Monday, he He went through double faces. He was all excited about Jermaine Dye. Then he gets mad at Theo because Theo doesn't want to give up Masterson.
Right.
And he's like, get rid of Masterson. We got all the pitching. He really wants Jermaine Dye, which I kind of agree with him. Masterson's supposed to be a real hot prospect, but man, the Sox are loaded with pitching.
Yeah.
So as far as the Gagne thing, I don't know where he would fit in because he's got clauses in his contract if he finishes games and stuff. So,
Well, they can work that out.
They're not going to take Papelbon out.
Right. No, they would work that out. I think that what you'd have is Gagne coming in as a setup guy. And imagine 7th, 8th, 9th. Okajima.
Yeah, but they're talking about if Gagne comes in, then Del Carmen might be shipped out to Chicago. So it's almost kind of one for the other. I don't.
Yeah, but I think Gagne's got a lot more talent than Del Carmen does.
Well, but Del Carmen could be a younger version of Gagne. I'm more interested in Jermaine Dye because they could give Poppy a little bit of time off.
Yep.
I don't know if that would help his knee.
Right.
Put Jermaine Dye in a 5-hole. I think he's got more home runs than any Red Sox player.
He probably does. And
the
that's
only problem with him is he has a no-trade clause,
right.
I believe, and he wants more playing time. So they'd have to kind of platoon him with J.D. Drew, who to me is big bust this year. Big, $15 million. We talked about that. So
see, with Gagne, I kind of like him because you have the 7, 8, 9 punch between Okajima, Gagne, and, of course, Papelbon. They're going to keep Papelbon as the closer. Gagne, that contract situation could be resolved because Major League Baseball would allow those, it says that he has to get so many saves for him to get so much money. Well, they could change that to, like, innings pitched. They can change that.
There's
they do
also
have that
talk
ability.
of them possibly getting both, which would be a coup.
I heard this.
C-O-U-P, French coup.
That's pretty good.
It'd be a coup.
It's an international show now.
International show.
We
do many flavors here.
I think, as much as I like Gagne, when all's said and done, what have we said for the last 2 months? This offense is staggering, and they need another bat.
Well, that's why I think of Jermaine Dye.
Jermaine Dye addresses that issue.
I think Jermaine Dye, Gagne would be okay, but, I would probably give up Masterson. Even if he's good down the road, you still got a lot of young pitching.
Well, I heard a trade involved that the Red Sox did not want to get rid of, like someone like Masterson, and they didn't want to get rid of.
Was it Okajima?
No, out in La La Land.
Willie Moe?
Yes. And that Willie Moe was in the mix.
Well, it's not Willie Moe. It's Masterson. Willie Moe, they'll drive him to the airport.
There was some talk in there that they were having problems letting go of both Willie Moe and a Masterson.
Yeah, but it's not because of Willie Moe. I think it's because of Masterson. That's the main thing there. But
like you said, they have plenty of pitching prospects.
Well,
I say if that's all you got to do is get rid of Masterson, do it. We're here to win now.
I agree with you. And then, as far as the Sox themselves go, as we do the show, they're 8 games up.
Right.
The Yankees been playing some terrific ball, and the Sox have kind of held on.
Sox have been winning
down to
too.
6.5, back up to 8.
Which goes to show you when there's only a game and a half difference in a matter of 2-3 weeks, ain't happening. The Yankees are not coming back.
The Yankees are playing their best ball, and they've made a small dent, but it's not like it's down to 3 or 4. There's still a little cause for concern, but I think
I wouldn't even be worried about it.
I think the Red Sox pitching is so good that...
Even Jen's not worried about it.
Well,
Jen knows season's over.
But if the Yankees get into... the Yankees aren't far away from the wild card. They get into the wild card, hey, all bets are off.
Anything could happen. Yeah, they'll falter
Absolutely.
again. What
How
kind
much
of time
time
we got, Mitch?
Just about 5.
Oh, plenty
5
of time.
minutes.
Plenty of time. You said leave 5 minutes at the end of the show. No, we could talk about, is there anything going on in your world in the land of like golf or soccer? The sports that no one cares about? Wait, hold on. Yep, that's the sound of everyone shutting off now.
David Beckham hasn't been able to play yet because of his ankle. And Freddie Adu, the 14-year-old phenom who started at 14, is now 18, is going to play in Portugal, my homeland.
That must be exciting things
He got
for you.
transferred over, and he's 18 years old. But anyway.
So he can vote now, finally?
But David Beckham, the world's waiting to see him play in MLS, which is kind of the minor leagues of professional soccer. But no, we can talk about Bill Walsh. He's, just as everybody knows, passed away yesterday at age 75. By all accounts, a genius. Took the 49ers to 3 Super Bowls,
like
won
I
3
said,
Super Bowls.
I grew up watching the 49ers, and I'm talking the days of course, Jerry Rice and Joe Montana, the 1-2 punch. Well, who led the way? It was Mr. Walsh himself. So, this guy had an impact on many coaches throughout the NFL now. I don't know if people realize this, but there are 8 coaches that have been head coaches in the NFL that worked under him. Now, if you're going to ask me to name them all, that's not going to happen. But we know some of the popular names like Denny Green and so forth. And you probably
Holmgren.
Yep.
I mean,
we're not talking. We're talking
Mariucci was there. I don't know if he was there at the time of Walsh. I believe he was.
I think Walsh was like at that point.
But I mean,
was like
generally Walsh is the West Coast, and then he's like a tree, and you got a lot of branches going off that tree, and
Yep.
and he was the architect of that great 49er offense. Of course, it helped that they got Joe Montana instead of Phil Simms, and they worked with a Notre Dame kid, and of course the rest is history, Jerry Rice. But they had a lot of players on talking about him, and by all accounts, everybody spoke very highly of him. Not exactly an in-your-face coach,
right?
But they said he's a guy who knew people real well, knew what buttons to push. One of those just.
He said he was a great motivator
coaches.
and was good. The reason why there are so many coaches in the NFL now derived off of being under his wing was that he let those coaches be themselves and develop their own forte, if you will. So, a lot of credit from all these coaches obviously going to him. And it's kind of sad to see an NFL great that is not known as a player. You know what I mean?
Great quarterback coach, worked with a lot of quarterbacks.
Yep.
They had Steve Young on yesterday, and all the former 49ers, Jerry Rice, all spoke very highly of him, and I'm sure there'd be a lot of people at the funeral because, like you
Absolutely.
said, it's a close-knit coaching fraternity, and a lot of coaches came off that Walsh tree, and by all accounts, he was kind of like, I don't know if he was the architect of the West Coast, but he certainly that's why he was called a genius, because of his offensive prowess. And, we all know what he did with the 49ers in those days. I mean, that was an unbelievable offense that they had there, and they could do anything almost at will, and everybody speaks highly of him. So
Absolutely. So as a 49ers fan, and I know you as an NFL fan, we tip our caps to Bill Walsh. I guess we'll spend the last couple minutes as one more issue we haven't spoken of that I'm sure we will for the rest of eternity, and it's the modern-day 2007 version of the O.J. Simpson days. Mr. Dog Catcher himself.
Michael Vick.
He's in more trouble now because one of his co-defendants pleaded guilty in a plea bargain. We've all watched TV, and I know real life's not like TV, but we know how plea bargains work. They don't exactly, say, yes, I'm guilty, and have nothing to return for information. I think that this dude is in more trouble, Michael Vick, that is, because of this guy.
It remains to be seen, and of course we'll keep up on the story. But
I think he's getting thrown under the bus.
Well, that could be, and they say that more charges could be forthcoming. But of course, again, we said it before, let's wait and see what happens. Some people say that everybody's been prosecuted. Some people say that a lot of times with dog fighting for first-time offense, it's like a 6 month to a year if you get some type of plea bargain. But the problem is he's such a public figure.
Right.
And even if he plea bargained or didn't get enough jail time, I mean, chances are there'd be a lot of picketing, and what organization would want to take a chance on him? Although somebody will. We know they will.
Well, don't forget, too, NFL's all about the manada. And
marketing and so forth.
Yeah, it's going to be tough to have a team
I
of
think he's
Vick
so
on.
young that he'll be back in the NFL. That's my personal opinion. Some people say no, but this certainly is a big story. The Virginia court is in November. There's no... we talked about that before. They're very efficient. There's no delays. There's no let's wait till after football season.
No, it's going to move.
They've said this is the date of the court.
It's in November.
It's about a 2-week trial, period.
Done.
Nothing else is going to happen. So
the latest...
Real interesting story to see.
When we talk about Michael Vick's role in all this, the latest, apparently, and this changes daily, is that he financed most of this...
Which we suspected all along
situation.
Anyway.
So...
Bad news kennels.
Yeah, I mean, financing, okay, so does that put you at a more evil, a lesser evil than if you were there physically, or, who knows? But he made it happen, I guess.
That shows involvement and in knowledge, so.
Yeah, absolutely.
I think we could be like Bad News Sports Show.
Let's do it. Bad News Sports Show.
Fat Sports Show.
That's it for show number 178. I'm Scott Cray. This is Dolphin Paul. And you can catch us on YouTube.com. Keyword IASS. It's not 177. It's 178.
Is it 178?
I don't know. 177 and a half. Thanks for watching, everyone.